think it's important that we get past the color of the skin of the guy that's playing the position. And I think we've gotten there. I think the young quarterbacks, African-American quarterbacks who are playing today, you don't never read the adjective of them being Washington black quarterback, or Tampa black quarterback, or San Francisco black quarterback. They just so happen to be the quarterback. And I think that's the way it should be, and I think that's the way it will be from now on.
If only Doug Williams had it right 3 years ago when talking about this issue, still having to deal with the question that has been asked of him almost every day since he led the Redskins to a crushing 42-10 win over the Broncos in the Super Bowl. What it was like to be the first black man to lead a professional football team into the title game. The Super Bowl 22 was an interesting time in America. 1988 saw us still technically in the Cold War against Russia. Yasser Arafat had officially renounced violence. Ronald Reagan signed a bill officially providing the death penalty for murderous drug traffickers. And former pop singer Sonny Bono was elected mayor of Palm Springs, California. Yes, America was something of a nation in crisis. And here we were talking about the first black man to quarterback in the Super Bowl. A monster story at the time, seeing as black men were considered by many of the football experts, the white football experts, to be all wrong for the quarterback position. They didn't have discipline, too busy worrying about scrambling around the field instead of ringing out the long ball. They lacked the necessary field leadership. And what wasn't said out loud by a lot of those sports writers and broadcasters then, white guys are supposed to play quarterback. I know that's what was being passed around press boxes and training camps. I was covering the game back then. I heard that talk from racist white and even some black members of the press corps. And it wasn't just the media. It was being said with authority in the ownership boxes, among the coaches, the scouts, and a lot of players had a problem with a black man under the helmet. But that was 28 years ago, ancient history. Today, more than 68% of NFL players are black, or if you prefer, African American. So when the Carolina Panthers won the NFC title, sending them to the Super Bowl, not one single soul I read, heard, or spoke to said one word about anything with color involved in it, talking about the Carolina stud signal caller and maybe the best player in the game, Cam Newton.
You're the only guy I know can wear exact pants. Meaning the pants don't fit, but he make them look good. What size you want? 34? I'm going to give you a 32.
Give me a 29.
Matter of fact, give me a 29. I want him to fit extra high.
Listen, he's the only guy I know can put them on his shoes.
How you put bleach on your pants?
Wore a camouflage suit.
Who does that? Look at him. In style.
Okay, so there was talk about color, but it was in fun, in essence celebrating the player and the sport. Earlier this week at halftime of the Pro Bowl, Newton told an interviewer he didn't want to be a distraction to his team talking about race. His statement was, "I'm an African-American quarterback that may scare a lot of people because they haven't seen nothing that can compare to me." His fractured grammar aside, he struck a nerve. People again started talking about black quarterbacks, their differences. And up again rose the racists in and out of the game, determined to get back onto an old, well-beaten, and one had only hoped buried issue. It's a ridiculous discussion, one that ESPN carried forth almost with glee, believing they'd struck a nerve. This was a real talker, when in essence, they struck a useless deposit of racist and hateful bile, using it for ratings and something juicy to talk about leading up to the game. I'd call them shameful and despicable. But to them and those who insist on keeping this controversy alive, it'd be a badge of honor to these clowns and feed an ugly debate that should never have been worthy of intelligent discourse in the first place. He is a quarterback. Stop saying black quarterback. And ESPN, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. But you probably think it was a great idea, didn't you? And that is telling it like it is. Tell me what you think about this, because quite frankly, it's a stupid discussion that needs to never be heard again. Ever. But then again, in that sense, I always try to talk to intelligent people. Rock on, true believers. See you next time, right back here on The Hardline.